I'm going to jump into a segment called the time of game. For those of you guys listening that are not aware of what the time of game is, it is basically a story mode. You know, we take our guests and we have them share a story about their life with a game running in the background. Most of us have experiences, and we also have a game that we were interested. Well, all of us have experiences, and we all have games that we were interested in that time or playing through as these kind of pivotal things happened in our lives. So, Adrian, I'm going to go ahead and give the floor over to you. What is your time of game?
Yeah, sure. So, my time of game is this game called Final Fantasy 11, which is an MMORPG that I believe debuted in North America in 2003, but I didn't start playing until 2004. And the most pivotal moment came around 2008, I want to say, when I was like 4 years deep into it, which I never thought I would play a game for that long. First off, I'm so used to console games at the time where it's like you beat it in 30 hours and you're done. But Final Fantasy 11, it sucked me in because I was just talking to people nonstop, and the game's fun, but I was meeting people and friends, not only in the game, but in real life. And it was weird because at the time, like I was fairly quiet in high school and all throughout the first part of college. And this was the first time that I really felt like I was being more of myself in a venue that allowed me to be myself, you know?
So this was 2008.
Yeah.
And how? Oh, I guess I don't need to ask you that. But what were you in middle school? I don't know if you're sensitive to that or not. But were you in
No,
middle
I'm not
school,
sensitive
high
to that.
school, or?
At this point, so this is actually cool about this. At this point, I had gone through high school easy, and I went through the first few years of college, the first 2 years. And I was like, this sucks. This is not me. So I stopped going.
Okay.
That comes back later on. But at this point, I was hanging out with my friends that I had met. This is weird, from Final Fantasy 11.
Oh, dude,
So we
I
became
met, like,
roommates.
dude, I was meeting like kids online when I was like fucking 14 years old.
Oh,
That's
okay. I thought you were going to say, like, still. I got worried.
Oh, yeah, I'm still meeting kids online.
2 episodes in a row. Just
You're nice.
Damn it.
Can't afford alcohol? I got you. But yeah, like it was weird that these people that were foreign to me became my roommates and to this day are still my best friends. And because I was so shy and introverted, and I still am, I'm introverted with extrovert tendencies. The more I played Final Fantasy 11, the more apt I was to actually bring my accomplishments from the game to like real life. So I was starting a guild in the game, which they called a link shell, and we were getting pretty well known. I myself was becoming a really well known ranger in the game, like server renown, server Rambo. Hello, Wintu's here, and right, you know, esport athlete. What can I say? And this is the first time this is the first time I actually felt major accomplishment in a long time. Because I used to be like a little bit of an athlete, like every kid feels like they were. I had ribbons and trophies and that kind of stuff, but in the game, I was getting so many accomplishments and feedback and friends that like it takes you out of real life. But I knew I couldn't do it forever, so I wanted to like mirror that accomplishment in real life. So I wanted to start accomplishing more things in real life. So the confidence I got from the game started to leak out a bit. And the one soporific attitude of Adrian became this louder and more funny version. You know how sometimes when like you tell a joke and you say it quietly and you're not sure if it's gonna be good or not, so you just kind of whisper it like, because you're scared of the reaction. Well, now it's becoming more bold. Right, here's the punchline. Or you say it quiet enough somebody else can hear it, and then they say it and they get the laugh for you, and you're like, all right, man, come on. That was my joke.
Yeah.
So now I was doing more of that. Like I was the one saying, gather around everybody, it's story time, and everyone's drunk in college and blah, 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 blah. Punchline, and the whole room laughed, and I was like, oh my God, it works in real life too. I can be a good person in real life, not only in the game. And so the game was giving me confidence to be able to mirror the accomplishments that I had in game in real life. I mean, I touched a girl.
Wow. Tell
Yeah.
us more about this.
Yeah,
Well-
tell me what it's like.
Well, it's funny because well, I have some details for you. So the
I
first
can't
4
wait.
years, I had some encounters before of like being with people, but I never like did anything because I wanted to play Final Fantasy 11. This is a true story. Like there were two different occasions, and I've told it on my stream before, from 2004 to 2008, where different women were like, hey, blah blah blah, intimacy, and we're all alone, and I'm like, yeah, but what about Final Fantasy 11? I legit one time had someone in my room who's unbuttoning her pants, and I wanted to show her Final Fantasy 11 because it was a cool game.
Oh my god.
Wow. How'd you take
Yeah.
that?
So hot.
Yeah, right. I was pretty naive because I didn't think like no one wants to have sex with me. I want to play Final Fantasy 11.
You're like, why is this girl changing her pants?
Yeah.
Right, like your panties are exposed. What are you doing?
Why
That's
would
not how you
wanna
level
sleep
up.
with me? You haven't even seen my character yet.
You think that's hot?
Yeah.
Wait till you see this relic weapon.
You're like, you're like, oh man, I had to do something really impressive. Let me boot up my computer.
Right, exactly. And it became so weird because the confidence that I had from this game at the time in this summer, I became a bit more charismatic. Their words, not mine, where this one girl who had eyes like Alexandra Daddario or Zoe Deschanel, and she was like, hey, do you want to come over? And I'm like, you know what? I think Final Fantasy 11 can take a day off for once. You know,
Yeah.
Why not? We'll just go over and what she call these days, we'll watch Netflix, right? Or the modern day equivalent.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I went over there and I'm thinking to myself, all right, what will my in-game character do? You know, he would, in Final Fantasy 11, it's a grinding game. It's the long burn, you know, which is
You
what
don't
this
want
was.
that.
It wasn't that long burn.
That's not the burn.
We were on the couch and we were just talking. And next thing you know, it's like in the movies, and it felt weird because we just started making out.
Yeah.
And in my head, for once, I wasn't thinking about Final Fantasy 11. I mean, I kind of was, but not enough to leave because I had no laptop anyway.
Sure.
But like,
I have a question
sorry, I
for
just
you.
need a breath.
So this character, no, I get it. I get it.
Get yourself worked up from your memories.
The character, the character that you were playing at the time, you know, were you role playing, or was it just more like you? Did you consider like a persona for your character at all when you were playing? Do you remember? And I guess my question is that was that persona or whatever your persona, whatever parts of you were exuding in that game, it sounds like that's what was kind of pushing you to be more comfortable with yourself in real life because it was being accepted in the game.
Yeah, I would say so to a degree because what consequences do you have in the game? It's a trial, so to speak, you know, to take pieces of you and put them out there in front of a large audience of people who don't know you, you know, people that you're leveling with and people that you come to call friend. And so it became a chance for me to kind of like have a training dummy, so to speak, to see what is the real me like, and just putting out pieces of me that I ordinarily thought might be considered weird or odd, like being able to speak with a certain vernacular. Like I like typing near perfectly if I can, you know, case sensitivity and that kind of stuff. So doing that in chat and seeing the kind of way people receive that. So I guess in a way it was kind of like role playing, not in the sense of like, you know, you have an entire background story for your character,
Right.
but being able to bring out your own personality and being able to say a certain thing, people to act a certain way, being able to have open discussions about things that you find interesting and you're not sure if other people do. I mean, if it's like 3 a.m. and there's nothing to do, you'd be surprised how often you start discussing things from how delicious is Dr. Pepper to stem cell research. And so you start saying these things and you start realizing that there are people out there who you don't have to tailor yourself to. You can more or less be yourself and see who migrates towards you and is willing to be a real friend. So it was role playing in a sense, and it helped prepare me that summer, even to this day. That entire summer helped create the baseline of the kind of person that I always was, but was kind of afraid to expose myself to.
Right.
That's awesome.
From that summer, was there any, outside of like touching girls and telling jokes, was there any like defining moment from that summer where you would say that was like the pivotal part where you grew comfortable with yourself, like that was it, where you were one-upping in real life similarly to your exceptional character in the game, and you were like, you know what, I got this. Like, I'm really truly am mirroring my accomplishments in the game.
You know, I think a lot of it was, yeah, there were a few moments. There was one I can think of right now actually, where I guess I was learning to. It sounds weird. I mean, it sounds stupid. I was learning to think more. More thinking out loud. Like I lost my phone one night. There was these things in Dayton, Ohio, Fairborn, Ohio, called May Days, aka everyone gets drunk for a weekend days on the campus or whatever. And I left my cell phone at the time. It was a Kyocera flip phone. It had the polyphonic ringtones. Beep, 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 boop, 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 boop. And I left it, and I was like, shit, this sucks. And so I called the number, and I texted it, and someone had my phone. They were like, oh, this is your phone? Do you want it back? And I was like, yes, and like
No,
$20.
I don't, sir.
Right. Okay, keep it, sure. They were like $20. And so I'm like, $20 from my own phone, what am I going to do? At this point, I have the charisma, I have the confidence, I have the personality, the attitude. I'm starting to run more and be more active. And now it's time to test my mental prowess to interact with people that I necessarily may not like people who have my phone who shouldn't. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll give you $20. Meet me by the basketball courts, by the apartment. It's not going to go down how you think it's going to go down, all right? There's no fisticuffs. So I called the police. And I had them sitting in like CSI style in my apartment complex, and it was like subterranean too, so like peeking through the windows above like the dirt window. And sure enough, they showed up. It went outside with a bold face, confronted them, and I got my phone back. And then later on, I saw them again out in the open, and I felt like old me would have been afraid, just the consequences maybe of it, but the confidence that I had from playing the game and having people accept me and receive me in such a way that was so positive that I went out there bold-faced and brave, and it sounds silly, played basketball, and they didn't say a word to me. I just,
dude.
as you exude confidence, there was no like tucking shoulders down. You just look at them, and they might scoff, and they walked away. And that was when I was like, man, life is changing. I felt like I was a ranger IRL from Final Fantasy XI.
Fuck yeah, dude. You're a b-ball ranger.
You changed your job. Now you're the ranger.
Yeah, I was like, you did it. You're the true ranger, Adrian.
Yeah.
So that was sick, the confidence was there, the charisma, the attitude, the intelligence. I mean, at that point, I wanted to start going back to school, which I ended up doing as well. I finished college later on, which was nice and expensive, still is. But like this game and this summer was just, I can't tell you how pivotal it is to this day, even like hosting. Like sometimes people will say, what's it like to host on stage with these different people? And to me, when they're backstage in the green room, I just kind of keep to myself when they're on stage. I talk to them as if we're talking like now, the way we're speaking. Because I'm just so used to speaking to different people from different venues, from different conventions, online with different attitudes. When you've been on the internet for this long, you've seen, we were talking about it earlier, you've seen
shit.
Yeah, every attitude you can think of, every personality you can think of, that after a certain amount of time, people are just people at that point, and you just kind of adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Damn
awesome.
it! I should have played Final Fantasy 11.
Oh man, it's still going on.
Yeah, you still play it?
So I quit after 8 years, and my one friend, Verily Vale, was like, "Hey man, Final Fantasy," and he was one of the guys that I met way back when I first started playing. And like any addictive drug, you need your hit back. I felt like what's his name from Lord of War. Like that was my Africa cocaine outline. I was like, yeah, we're going back. I went back and started playing it, and it's a nice refresher of all this. It's a nice reminder of how far I've come, because anytime you play a game with that much nostalgia, you think back to the summer of 2008 and what your life was like before, when you were the quiet, meek, mousy, not so confident, non-girl touching person to the person I am today. And so it came a long way, and it tempered me for hard situations too. The game makes you think. It's a really hard game.
Right.
Like you
I
might go
played it
6 hours.
For like 2 days.
It's a long time for that game. How was your experience?
I liked it, but I think that I purposefully avoid MMOs just because of the addictive nature of them.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that if
Can't get away from
I
it.
was playing an MMO the same time that I was considering living in a cave, it might be a dangerous combination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to actually quit my
Live-
job and live in a cave. But the day that I think that I do, if I'm playing an MMO, I might be in trouble. So it was a quick like a tag for me, just touched, and I was like, this is fun. It might be too fun. Jumping out, must run away.
Sure.
But I mean, I've definitely had similar experiences as you with just interneting and like being around people and learning that, you know, things don't have to hurt, because if you know who you are, then you're going to be okay. You know what I mean?
I think
So-
there's a weird dichotomy with that as well, because I felt like I went the opposite direction, where a lot of times in MMOs it might make you closer to your own safe harbor of not wanting to interact with people because of the person you've created online is a person that you want to be only there, and in real life you don't want to bother to speak to anyone or interact with anyone. And there's articles and people in news sites exclaiming that this new generation doesn't know how to go outside and speak with people, or even like dare I say on Twitch or in social media, everyone's trying to well, I shouldn't say everyone, that's unfair to say. People in general, some are looking to adopt certain personalities because it's the ones that they see that they want to be, or the one that they think is most likely to be accepted within an entire community. So you see a lot of you know, carbon copies or doppelgangers of certain personalities that exist, and you don't get to see the real person behind them. And I've been around some people that I meet the real them, and I'm like, the real you is so great. And I wish everyone else had a chance to speak to you the same way that I've got to speak with you, because it's like in Final Fantasy 11, the same thing. You got to learn to just go out there and be yourself, as long as it's not harmful, and just see what it attracts. You know, you throw shit to a wall and see who it attracts. And I feel sad sometimes when I see people afraid to be themselves and afraid to be the person that they want to be, for fear of the reception they might get, and the friends they thought they had, they may not be there anymore.
You know what I think you need to do? I think
Tell
you
me.
need to start stealing people's phones and giving them the same opportunity.
Yes.
And just
That's
confronting
it,
them.
everybody. The podcast, we're not continuing the podcast. We're now the vigilantes of social like esteem, and we are going to
Do-gooders.
steal your fucking phones and give you the opportunity to call the cops on us.
I can't wait for like PAX West
I
when
know.
all these phones go missing on Twitter. Where are these phones at? If you
No
want
one's
your
posted
phone
on
back,
social media.
meet me at
Yeah.
Denny's
Yep. Meet me at
Meet-
Denny's.
at
I'm
2
gonna be-
a.m.
I'm going to be eating those seasoned fries with ranch.
That's the best part. They'll show up scared and meek, like, hello, do you have my phone? I'll be like, yep, and I got an all-star Grand Slam breakfast for you, too. Let's sit down and talk.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be great. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Just
You wanna
a
do
life
this?
coach who starts with cell phones.
All right.
Exactly.
The only thing is, despite Denny's being fairly inexpensive, that's a lot of Denny's to buy. So be looking for our GoFundMe for Grand Slam breakfasts for people that were going to be stealing their phones.
It's a great idea.
And you'll be helping better the world with one phone stolen at a time.
Use coupon code Backspace Nomads for 10% off your Denny's order. Certainly.
All right, Adrian.
those
Well, that
codes.
was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your
Yeah,
time
man.
with games with us.
Thanks for having me.